Hello. So I just wanted to do my next video. So this one is going to be about like basically having Zara, giving birth to Zara, just a little bit about what happens before, like, you know, during labour, and just a little bit what happens after, just so, you know, people are aware. So my waters broke when I was 32.5 weeks pregnant. So I was upstairs in bed about to go to sleep, and I was like, what's that? And there was a lot of water that came out, so it's very, very different to my first experience with Sophia. So with Sophia there was like hardly any water, and Zara, obviously because of all the excess fluid, oh my god, there was like so much water everywhere, all over our mattress. So anyway, my waters broke. I said to my husband, I was like, oh my god, my waters have broke, like, what are we gonna do? Panicking, because obviously I was only 32.5 weeks pregnant. We'd already know all the problems, and they kept saying to me that, you know, the more close to the due date she can make it, the better chances she's got. So I was thinking, oh god, you know, what are we gonna do now? So anyway, we called the specialist hospital. They said, you know, I need to come over. I didn't even have my bag packed, like my hospital bag or anything ready. So I was trying to get my husband to put like a few things in a bag, you know, just grab whatever, just so we could get there. Because like I said, it was an hour and a half away, and I didn't know what was going to happen. I had to call my mum to come and watch Sophia. Luckily, she answered straight away and came over. She only lives 5 minutes down the road, luckily. So she was able to come over and watch Sophia, and me and Afiz went to the hospital. Like I said, just grabbed whatever in the bag we could and just get there, you know. So we got there. We had to go to like, not like the labour room, but like a waiting room to kind of speak to somebody. When we got there, it was really frustrating because nobody seemed to know what to do. Because there was been no birth plan or anything made yet, nobody seemed to have a clue of what to do. And I kept saying, you know, this is the doctor's name you need to speak to who's done all the shunt procedures. He's the best person to speak to. But obviously it was like midnight or something. So, you know, it wasn't that easy to get hold of people. But they finally eventually got hold of him. And the advice basically was, my waters have broke, but obviously I wasn't having contractions or going into labour or anything. Don't do anything. They were like, because with Sophia I had to actually be induced, but they were like, we don't want to induce you because we want to keep we want to keep the baby in there for as long as possible to give her the best chance because of the situation with her lungs and everything. So basically, they kind of just checked my blood pressure, checked, you know, things like that. Did like, you know, like the ECG with the heart, like the monitor on the baby, checked her heart rate, you know, checked everything, and everything was okay. And then I went up to, it was a ward for, like either expectant mums or mums who had just had a baby that was categorised as high risk. So I went up to that ward. Luckily, I got my own room, so that was nice. And Afiz obviously came home because he had to come home, you know, to see Sophia. And Sophia luckily was able to come the next day and see me and, you know, spend some time with her, bless her. But basically, I was there for about, half a week, and just having like the scans daily just to see what was going on. And I finally started, so they didn't induce me or anything. They just like, because they were like, it's a weighing up of, you know, getting an infection because your waters have broke, or keeping her there as long as possible to help her lungs. And they wanted to keep her there as long as possible to help her lungs. So they didn't induce me or anything. They were just waiting for it to come naturally. And after I'd been there for a few days, I started to go into labour with Zara, and so I was in the room. I went to come here. So I was in the room, and I went to the bathroom, and I said to the midwife, I was like, I don't feel 100%, like I don't feel very well. I'm in a little bit of pain with my stomach. And she was like, oh, you're not in labour, it's absolutely fine, we can't do anything, just go to sleep, because it was like, I don't know, 11, 12 o'clock at night. So I went back to my room, I was laying there, and then it literally came on so quickly. literally from one moment I was just laying there like a bit uncomfortable to full blown like, oh my God, I feel like I need to push a baby out. It was absolutely crazy. I couldn't even reach the buzzer behind me to call the nurses because I was in so much pain. And I'm not like one for shouting or anything, but I had to kind of shout like, help, please, somebody. And they came rushing in and was like, you know, what's wrong? And they could see that, you know, I was in labour. I was having massive contractions, you know, like really close together as if you're just about to have a baby. So it literally went from nothing to full blown having a baby within about an hour. So it was crazy. So they were trying to get me down to the labour ward. So, you know, they were moving the bed and everything and saying, right, we're going to go down to the labour ward and see what's going on and everything. And the lady was like, oh, do you want us to call anybody? And I was like, well, yeah, my husband. They tried to call him, couldn't get hold of him. He wouldn't answer his blooming phone. So that was added stress that you just didn't need. But they finally managed to get through to my stepmom, who was like going to try and ring him, and if not, come over and wake him up and get him to come over. But I went down in the lift, and the midwife was like, oh, I'm ready to, you know, have this baby in the lift. And I was like, well, I'm not ready to have this baby in the lift. I'm not ready to have this baby at all. A minute ago, you were telling me I'm not in labour. So it took a while because I was really confused as to what was happening. But we got to the labour suite, you know, where you actually deliver the baby. And there was a midwife there, and then a doctor came in straight away. And she was like, oh, I'm just going to check and just see what's happening. And she was like, oh, yeah, your baby's head is right there. Like, you need to push. And I was like, what? Like, she's just been telling me that I'm not even in labour. Like, now you're telling me to push. I couldn't quite gather what was happening. I was a bit confused. And, you know, I said to the other lady, I was like, what about like pain relief? And she was like, yeah, you don't have time for pain relief. Like, you need to push your baby out now. And I was like, well, no, I can't, because, you know, I'm only 33 weeks pregnant. Like, you know, they said that she needs to go for as long as possible to her due date. I can't. She's not meant to come now. And they were like, no, you need to push her out now. So I didn't have any, you know, pain relief or anything. There just wasn't time, and it was horrible, to be honest with you. I wasn't comfortable on the bed. They moved me from one bed to the other bed. I still had all my full blown clothes on. Like, I couldn't get comfortable on the bed. I didn't have any pain relief. You know, nobody was there that I knew, and it just wasn't at all like my first experience. And anyway, the doctor was like, you know, we have to get your baby out right now because she's like, the baby's right there. You need to get the baby out. We need to get her seen and everything. And I was just like, okay. So I just, you know, did what you have to do. So I pushed and, you know, obviously it was blooming painful, but not as painful as Sophia, because Sophia was £7 and Zara was £4. But that was a lot of fluid, to be fair. Otherwise, she wouldn't have even been up to £4. So basically, I had Zara. So I had Zara. They kind of wrapped her. Well, the midwife, like, I think it was the midwife or the doctor. I can't remember if it was the midwife or the doctor, but they grabbed her, took her straight over to you know, one of them plastic open cots where there was like 3 doctors and like 3 neonatal nurses over there waiting for her. So they literally took her straight away from me, like cut the cord, everything. Didn't even have a chance to, it wasn't like, you know, like with Sophia at all. It was, she was out, cut the cord, straight over to the cot. They were all around her, and I was, you know, when you like cry, you need to cry. And I was waiting for I think everybody was waiting, and then she cried, and I was like, oh, thank God for that. And then they said it was a girl, because I didn't even actually know what I was having. So they took her over. I was waiting for her to cry. She cried. They said it was a girl. I was like, amazing. And then they literally wheeled her over in the cot, picked her up for a split second, went like that. I kind of glanced at her for a second, and they were like, yeah, we've got to take her straight down to the neonatal intensive care. And that was it. So it was really, you know, not very, well, it's not like a nice experience. You want to hold your baby, you want to cuddle them and have that skin to skin, you want to try and feed them. No, she was literally out. They cut the cord, put her in this cot. Doctors and everybody was checking to make sure she was breathing, to make sure, you know, she cried. Brought her over to me for 1 second. There you go, that's your baby. Right, she's gone. And then I was just left there like, oh, okay. Afiz wasn't even there by this point. So everybody literally left me in the room. I was just on my own, like, okay? So I want to see my baby. I want to know what's going on. I want to know what's happening. Everybody's told me she's not going to make it. What's going on? You know, and then a few minutes after that, Hafiz walked in. He didn't even realise I'd had the baby. He come in and he was just like, what's going on? What's going on? Like, and he was like, have you had the baby? And I was just like, I've had the baby. Like, it's the girl and she's gone. And he was just like, what? You've had the baby? You've had the baby? Because that's like how quick it all happened. And he was like, well, what's going on? And I was like, I have no idea. I saw her for 1 second, they took her away, and I have no idea what is happening. So, you know, we were just waiting, and then it got to the point where I was like, no, I can't wait any longer. So I had to press the bell, and then like, the midwife came, and they were like, oh, do you want any food, drink? I was like, no, I want to see my baby. That's all I'm bothered about. I was like, do you know anything? If they said anything, what's happening? And she was like, I don't know anything. All I know is your baby's been taken to the neonatal intensive care for all the doctors and specialists and everybody to look at her. When they're ready, they'll let us know when you can go down. So we waited for about another like 10-15 minutes, and then I had to ring the bell again. I was like, no, I'm sorry, I need to go down. I can't just be here waiting. I need to know what's going on. And then luckily at that point they called the neonatal intensive care, and luckily they said, yeah, like, she's ready. We're able to go down and see her. So I had to go in a wheelchair, you know, they won't let you walk. So I quickly got in the wheelchair, was like, right, push me, let's go straight away. You know, I want to know what's happening. I want to know what they're saying. I need to know everything, you know. So, you know, I'll talk about when I got to the neonatal intensive care setting. When I walked in, everything I saw, I'll talk about all that in the next video, and all the intensive care. Well, I'm going to talk about everything, you know, all the intensive care time she was there, the HDU, everything, the children's hospital, everything. I'm going to talk about everything, but I'm going to try and do it in like shorter videos, like I said, so people can just see what they need to see that's relevant to them at the time. So, you know, the birthing experience was completely different to my first. It's not something you ever particularly plan for and want it to be like that. You know, I mean, it happened really quickly, which I guess in a way is really good, but it just meant that my husband wasn't even able to be there. You know, I wasn't prepared in the slightest. I didn't even want to have her then, because I was like, she's not ready, we need to try and get up to the due date. And then, you know, to not even see her properly after, to, you know, wait for her to cry. Okay, that was, you know, amazing when she did cry. And, you know, I found out she was a girl. That was amazing. But to then see her literally for 1 second held up like that and then taken away, and you haven't even got a clue what's going on. You're just sat there worrying yourself sick. Like, with how is she? Is she okay? Is she still breathing? What's happening? You know, it wasn't great, and I was very fidgety, and I was like, I just need to go down and see her. I couldn't relax. I didn't want to eat anything. I didn't want to drink anything. I just didn't want to relax. I just wanted to go and see what was happening. So, yeah, so, you know, it's not exactly what you dream of having a baby to be like, but it is what it is, unfortunately. You know, they have to be in the best hands, and to be in the best hands, they have to be taken down straight away and checked over and everything, and that's just, you know, how it is. All right, well, thank you for watching this video. If you've got any questions or anything, you know, feel free to post a comment, and I'll reply and answer you. And yes, I'll see you in the next video, where I'll be talking about when we got to the intensive care and how it all was, and our first experience in intensive care, which it's quite a good name for it, because it was very intense. It wasn't obviously a great experience at all, but yeah, so anyway, just wanted to let you know about the birth and, you know, just what happened with that one, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you, bye.